They not like us. Classic anti-Semitism against a successful Jewish rapper. I'm surprised I haven't heard that yet. I guess the Snoop Dogg Stop Anti-Semitism ads did not take Adam Friedland, Kendrick Lamar. It would have been nice if you apologized to Drake and the Jewish community, but sigh. They not like us. We all know who they is. That's amazing. That's true. Drake did claim it was anti-Semitic in a lawsuit. He did say that. What's really interesting is that, and perhaps a lot of people in my community are going to get mad at me and immediately say that like I'm a white boy who doesn't understand. But I think Kendrick Lamar did not go anywhere near as hard as he could have. And he had toned it down tremendously in terms of like making political statements. I think he went super balanced, and that it was all right. Like I think Kendrick Lamar's performance left much to be desired on my end. That's what I think. I think it was good, but I expected amazing. That's what I thought. Regardless of the Super Bowl, I think that juxtaposition of Kendrick Lamar being Kendrick Lamar at the Super Bowl, a person who transcends like a brand as powerful as the Super Bowl, I think was nowhere near as hard. And before you say, "Oh, you don't understand," like Uncle Sam, I get it. No, I'm saying that was nowhere near what my expectations were. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying there wasn't any politics involved in it or that I didn't understand the political messages within the performance. No, I'm saying I got it, but it was less than I expected. That's all I'm saying. Here's the breakdown if you want.
You wanted that performance to have been about Drake. You want to highlight A minor, which was a minor part of the performance.
Yeah, I that's not what I'm talking about. I thought he wouldn't have even talked about Drake, maybe. Like, I thought that would have been a message in and of itself. I thought he was going to go ham on just politics. Like, you got to do, obviously, Not Like Us. It's his biggest song. It's his most popular song from this last album. But, like, my expectation 100% was that he was going to go way harder. Kendrick did what I hope he'd do. Didn't try to do too much. Snuck in some little stuff. Kind of meta commentary on what he was participating in. Whole new song, too, which I assume is coming soon. Drake's shade was quite satisfying. Serena cameo at the end. Kendrick is not that profound. What? He absolutely is. That's the thing. That is the one thing he is. What are you talking about? You could say like, oh, he doesn't have a lot of hits that are super popular or whatever, right? I mean, you can't say that any longer, but like, but that's the one thing that he does like the most, which is why my expectations, I mean, you're talking about dude with a Pulitzer Prize, you know what I mean, for a rap album. But normally he is, and in this situation he also had some subtle nods, but overall I think that my expectation was that he would go way harder, like the divided United States flag, and like there was a lot of subtle political statements, all comprised of black people. That's the other thing. And that, you know, he mentioned 40 acres and a mule. But anyway, let's keep going.
That performance was not about Drake. It was about us, the United States of America, in this moment in American history. That's why he started with squabble up, because that's what we got to do. We have to fight back in order to survive. Kendrick Lamar, the embodiment of swift artistry and Gemini genius, and the first solo rapper to headline a Super Bowl, delivered a performance rich with symbolism, some of which may have been missed on first watch. But I promise you, it's going to be discussed by cultural.
You want him to go harder in this climate where black people have to deal with enough as it is? He signaled to his target audience, and that was enough. Black people perfectly understood what he was talking about, respectfully. Okay, we're leaving that kind of sentiment in 2024. Okay, we're here. We're in here. We're just, you're having a conversation with me, okay? Please stop. Like, no, we're not doing this, okay? I'm just telling you what my expectation is. Yes, I thought he would go harder. Yes, at a time when black people are under attack. My expectation was that Kendrick Lamar, black man, would go harder. White guy talking about what black people want, try not to laugh. Yeah, I know, dude. I know. It's because I'm racist, dude. Come on, get with the program. I'm racist. I'm a white supremacist, man. Okay? That's it. That's who you've been watching this whole time. Shut up. And now chat calling them woke. Can we please not be a parody of the right? No, it's just so annoying. All right. And before people say, oh, what do you mean? It's Kendrick Lamar. Like, can't he do a normal ass halftime show? Yeah, it's Kendrick Lamar. What are you talking about? It's Kendrick Lamar. It's not like, yeah, if it was J. Cole, my expectations would not be that he comes out with like a political message. Or if he did, it would probably be like very liberal #resistance style. But it's fucking Kendrick Lamar. Jesus Christ.
Decades to come as one of the first bold protests of the Trump era. And I'm going to tell you right here, baby, I'm so glad that Donald Trump was there to see the blackest halftime performance of all time. He had Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam, dancers dressed in red, white, and blue prison uniforms, creating patterns that resembled and gave us an American flag, symbolizing both patriotism and critique of all the issues in this country regarding equality and the battle for it. The performers in prison uniforms, really was my favorite part. Just think about it. Where America's society wants to relegate us, wants to put us, prison, wage slavery, mere entertainment. And at a time when Black excellence is under attack, facing false equivalencies and the misguided relevance of the anti-DEI movement, Kendrick Lamar's choreography and visuals underscored a bigger point. Well, Lamar's inclusion of Not Like Us, even in a censored form, brought attention to ongoing debates about accountability and power dynamics. It's about holding public figures, whether they be Donald Trump, Drake, or Elon Musk, accountable for their actions. See, the oligarchs who paid $1 million to attend an inauguration, or an oligarch who paid $200 million to influence a national election, those people, they're not like us.
No, man, it's like that's what people expected him to do. The singleness is key. Stop playing loud. Stop being ghetto, while he's literally telling you in front of your face with eloquent and subtle messages, man, chef's kiss. What? Yeah, that's what I was saying. My criticism of Kendrick Lamar was that he was too black and too ghetto. No, I just don't think it was that profound. Yeah, he did the whole like black people made this country. That's why they comprised of the flag. And then the flag was divided. It's not even a risk for Kendrick Lamar. Like, you want him to go harder and risk it, but that's not. That was the line Samuel Jackson said, bro. Sometimes I hate watching white men be fragile when us black people want to tell y'all it's not for you to get. I don't care. Okay. At the end of the day, I don't think it's all that serious. I'm just saying, as a fan of Kendrick Lamar, Hasan, you don't know shit about music, is true. There are a lot of artists out there that engage in political messages that are way above their pay grade, or they try to do political messages and oftentimes they swing and they miss as a consequence of not having a fully flushed out worldview. Kendrick Lamar is not one of these artists. So my expectation there is not for Kendrick to be like, oh, we gotta resist, something along those lines, but instead, at least with the imagery, invoke more anger potentially at the administration, at all, the entirety of the government, from a perspective of like where we're at in this moment in time, where American white supremacy has never really gone away. But at this stage, it's becoming even more overt than it was before. There are, throughout America's experiences with liberalism, there have been times where white supremacy has gotten on the back foot, even though it has very much been a fundamental aspect of American societal development. It's been there. It's never gone away, except now it's being used offensively more so than in the past couple of decades. That's why I said I think Kendrick Lamar's performance was good, but my expectation was like mind-blowing because it is Kendrick Lamar, you know? That's it. There was a decent amount of Drake stuff in there. There was a decent amount of like blackness in it and the celebration of blackness in it. And I'll just say it like this. I guess my opinion that Kendrick Lamar did not go hard enough is kind of reaffirmed by the reaction to it. Because the reaction to it was basically Republicans doing the same thing that they always do, to be like, well, there's a black person there. This is DEI. Whereas like if he had gone way harder, Ben Shapiro would be having a fucking aneurysm. Instead, he basically turned around and said, I can't understand what he's saying. Classic racism. One of the other funniest parts about this, by the way, is that they also didn't understand, like a lot of right-wingers, understandably, did not understand the Uncle Sam reference or the American flag. And they actually thought that it was positive. Like they thought that it was actually America finally, you know, one of the blackest rappers out there at the Super Bowl had the main stage and was like, I'm a patriot. I love the United States of America. Like, obviously that wasn't the point. He wasn't doing that at all. And that point was lost on many Americans because they're very stupid. That's not what I'm saying either. But having said that, I think that there was, I don't know, he could have just like hung a Klansman or something. That's all I'm saying. Here's the FD signifier take from this morning.
Right. He starts out with that unreleased song. I think somebody said his name, Bodies. He says the revolution will be televised, which, you know, and we introduce Samuel Jackson. I think it's a very purpose of the line livery. Sam gets up and says, "Hey, it's your uncle, Sam." And he says it just like that. And if there's one reach I'll make, I think that's a commentary on Snoop Dogg and Nelly and all of them. Because at the end of the day, they're performing for Donald Trump, right?
Yeah. Snoop Dogg, ironically, Snoop Dogg's been getting cooked up and down the timeline. Part of it is because he very famously in 2016, when artists were doing, you know, Trump bits first time around and talking about how they wanted to perform at the inauguration, Snoop Dogg came out and was like, you know, he said a bunch of words that I will not say, including, but not limited to, calling them uncles. Now, Snoop Dogg also famously performed at Trump's inauguration party this time around. So many people brought that back and were like, oh, really? Snoop Dogg, that's how you know, tell us how you really feel. So I think that there's definitely a nod, or a, you know, people are pointing to black artists that have caved to the Trump wave and gotten on the Trump train.
You know, they didn't know that going into it, but that was the performance. And so you have Samuel Jackson as Uncle Sam. Samuel Jackson has a pretty radical background. For those who don't know, like Sam Jack is a
true
was about that life in his youth before he.
Samuel Jackson literally kidnapped a dean. Samuel Jackson is amazing. Samuel Jackson, when he was in college, was insane. I mean, he's awesome. Yes, he was expelled from Morehouse in the 60s for holding Martin Luther King Jr.'s father hostage. They locked board members in a building for 2 days in the protest of the school's curriculum and governance. Included in this group of people who were held hostage was Martin Luther King Jr.'s very own father, Martin Luther King Sr. In 1966, during the height of the Civil Rights Movement, Jackson enrolled at the historically black Morehouse College in Atlanta, the alma mater of Martin Luther King Jr. In 1968, when Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, King's body was brought to Atlanta to lie at the state at Spelman College, a historically black women's school adjacent to Morehouse. Samuel Jackson in his youth was, let's just say, YouTube drama tubers would be making a lot of videos about how he's a terrorist. Before you shit yourself, chat, no, they didn't do it directly to kidnap MLK's father. Yeah. Why is that celebrated? I'm uneducated in this regard. Why is that celebrated? Because militancy coming from the Black Panther Party and the Civil Rights Movement, regardless of how much the American education system tries to whitewash it, was on the right side of history. Okay, Jackson attended King's funeral as one of the ushers and then flew to Memphis to join an equal rights protest march that changed the way he taught. I was angry about the assassination, but I wasn't shocked by it. I knew that change was going to take something different, not sit-ins, not peaceful coexistence. He stated in an interview with Parade about his reactions to King's death. In 1969, as mentioned before, he and a group of activist Morehouse students held the college's board of trustees hostage, demanding that changes be made to the curriculum of the school and stating that they wanted more blacks on the governing board of the institution. Morehouse eventually gave in and agreed to the change, but Jackson was expelled for his actions. That summer, he became connected with people in the Black Power movement, including Stokely Carmichael, H-Rap Brown, and others. I was in that radical faction, Jackson told Parade. We were buying guns, getting ready for armed struggle. All of a sudden, he said proudly, I felt I had a voice. I was somebody. I could make a difference. But then one day, he added quietly, my mom showed up and put me on a plane to LA. She said, do not come back to Atlanta. The FBI had been in her house and told her that if I didn't get out of Atlanta, there was a good possibility I'd be dead within a year. She freaked out. Anyway, the best part of the halftime show is the conservative meltdown over it. I'm just saying that there wasn't even that much conservative meltdown over it, partially because I feel like it was, the messaging was subtle and also did not go as hard as I thought it would. That was the point I was trying to make, at least.
And so you see at the beginning, Kendrick is being a bit more aggressive, and you're like, oh, maybe we will get something that is provocative. Again, I want to be clear. I wasn't looking or desiring anything provocative from Kendrick here. I'm still refining. I'm developing new takes on like what I want from Black art in our political reality right now. But I do know for a fact that I don't want half measures from Black artists anymore. I don't want them to try to have their cake and eat it too and end up just doing something that's co-opted and counterinsurgent. You know, I just over that. You know, that's just another thing. Sound mixing was ass. We'll get to that in a second.
Oh yeah, that was the other part of it. It was definitely, the sound mixing was like shockingly bad. He came out blown out. You could or his voice you could not hear. The music was way louder.
Whatever it was, I don't think it was meant to be like very explicit or demonstrative in his messaging. I think he just wasn't allowed to do that. And, you know, fine. Like, again, I wouldn't have wanted him to do much more than that because it's on the fucking Super Bowl. It's just, I don't know. To me, it makes more sense to do something not so provocative on that stage because it immediately becomes co-opted. There's a great video. I think Broy Deschanel made it. And I also talked, I don't know, this particular take developed to me all at once. I got it from a Broy Deschanel video. It probably was Dr. Ball. Looking forward to what Dr. Ball says about this. I'm sure he'll have some classic stuff on it. And somebody else, they talked about the fact that there's a thing called jester's privilege. And Broy Deschanel talked about it with the Barbie movie. And basically, it's a really slick, like, co-op counterintelligence type thing that happens with these giant corporations and these giant media companies where they will allow themselves to be critiqued on their platforms, in their media. They will say, yeah, you can, like the Barbie movie, oh yeah, call us all the things. Call and tell all the things. Talk all about all the bad parts of our company, but in our movie. And so what they do in doing that is they immediately undercut the critique. You know what I'm saying? So having Barbie be criticized heavily within a Barbie movie, it ends up being a half measure. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm happy that Kendrick didn't go much further than he did because I'd have been more annoyed by him doing something more grand on the NFL's dime. It's just, that's me. I'm sure there's a take that's different that I don't get. And I'm looking forward to hearing those. Maybe I'll change my mind, but that was me. So like, I think that's the best he could have did. Would I have, as a Kendrick fan and a person suffering in this current political reality right now, I would have loved for something big and overt and dynamic from Kendrick for this Super Bowl performance. I would have loved that. That would have been amazing. But I don't think that would have been the right thing because what we don't need from our artists right now is catharsis. Whatever desire you had for Kendrick to go up there and do something big and grand and meaningful that makes you feel like you're part of the resistance just by watching him.
A different black person take expecting activism from that, like that from Kendrick, when he also gave us Mike Brown would have not been killed if we respected ourselves and didn't loot, is goofy. And people expecting him to be a voice for black people's corny. Malcolm X said something about this, like, why do our activists have to be musicians and athletes? I think it's just because it's still Kendrick Lamar. It's not like any kind of, like, it's not just like a random dude. It's not like a random popular mainstream celebrity. That's it. Having said that, I still enjoyed the performance, which, many people are taking issue with me saying that he didn't go hard enough. But if he went any further, he would have had the entire Republican propaganda machine after him today, Law. I don't know. I think, like, overall, there is a feeling of capitulation in the air from any kind of resistance against the Trump administration, the acceleration towards fascism. And I feel like this more softened approach. I don't know why we can't let artists be artists. We don't have this level of expectation from anyone, let alone our elected officials, only because it's Kendrick Lamar. My expectation would not be the same from any other artist. But once again, I will repeat this position. I liked it. I just thought that it didn't go as hard. That's it. That's all I'm saying. But there is no expectation that celebrities, or at least for me, there's no expectation that celebrities are going to save us. That's it.
I didn't want a big grand thing from him. I wanted exactly what we got. What we got was a cool, somewhat provocative, a couple little nuggets, halftime show with just enough meat where people feel like there was something there, and maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Again, I'll let other people analyze and come up with their takes, and then we move on. Yeah, there you go. I think I hyped it up to be bigger after I heard the president would be there and knowing who Kendrick is. I should have known better. Yeah. You can't. You cannot and you should not. Like anybody that feels if you felt vexed after Kendrick's performance because it didn't give you the catharsis, take that energy to the streets this weekend. Go to a meeting. Hit your Google, see what I guarantee you there's a mutual aid fund in your city or state you could be donating to. You could be doing so many things to get you that same catharsis that are actually more meaningful and useful than having a big celebrity say the thing for you on TV. Kendrick is not your savior. We're 3-4 years deep into that slogan at this point.
I'm betting so many of these shadows are not black and just white knighting. I agree with your take and thought the same while watching. People watching in their fanboy goggles. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway. The Drake stuff was awesome. It was good. It was funny. It was perfectly timed, and it pissed off everybody that weirdly took offense to it. It's one of those strange moments where you have people taking ownership over the criticisms for no particular reason. I don't know why. A lot of people are Drake fans that took ownership over it. You had the obvious DEI halftime show from Jack Posobiec because, black people, classic stupid guy take. You had more classic stupid guy racist takes. This is not music. This is some loser mumbling. There's nothing artistic or redeeming about this. NFL, stop behaving like Americans like this. Saying Kendrick Lamar is mumble rapping is insane. There's perhaps no better indication of your own personal racist position, I think. That's like old school, 2000 era racism. Oh, he's mumbling. I don't understand what he's saying. Okay. Americans are so funny when they get mad at black culture, like racist Americans getting mad at black culture or rap music in general, when without black people and without black culture, Americans' cultural export is not even halved. It's literally almost entirely, it's reduced to nothing. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, what do you have? A ridiculous position in general. Benny Johnson chirping again. Hey, NFL, Trump won. We no longer let talentless, mumbling, pagan, satanic cults do halftime shows and pretend like people like it. Thanks, everyone. Yeah. Saying Kendrick Lamar is a paganist Satan worshiper. Kendrick Lamar is a Democrat. His producers are Democrats. Everyone who works for him is a Democrat. Why is there no diversity or inclusion or equity in this halftime show? Or does that work only one way? Just basically trying to fire off as many takes as possible in an effort to get some of that delicious algorithmic boost on Twitter. Once again, the Surfs actually comes out with a good take here as well. Crazy idea. Play a halftime show where a band plays music. Bold decision to hire a halftime performer. Like Matt Walsh wants polka or something. You know what I mean? I don't understand. Why can't someone just come out there and play the accordion? I'm Matt Walsh. That would be something that we really enjoy. Bizarre decision by the NFL to have some guy come out and lethargically mumble a bunch of songs that 90% of the NFL audience has never heard. Bold decision to hire a halftime performer who doesn't actually perform. And the Surfs is right. The right has complete and total control, and they're still annoyed and upset. They just love to complain. They love complaining. There is nothing the right likes more than complaining. Okay? This music is not my style. Some people are saying, yes, how? Does anyone actually like this crap? It's just like, what do you want? You are dominating. You got everything you wanted. Trump is president. He's popular. He's gutting the federal agencies. He's doing everything you wanted. Egg prices are through the roof due to the avian flu with seemingly no control over this problem. It's now patriotic to pay more for goods. It's officially patriotic to pay more for goods. And y'all are still complaining. It doesn't make any sense. When will the complaints go away? They're actually mirroring and proving the personification of America through Uncle Sam in the performance. Yeah. Conservatives know they will never win the cultural war. They desperately want liberals to think they're cool and it will never happen. The problem with that is that Andrew Breitbart once famously said, politics is downstream of culture, right? It's almost like the reverse of a Gramscian analysis, if I understand it correctly. The issue there is that conservatives do believe it. They don't want to shape culture in a way where it suits their political goals, because their political goals have nothing to do with popular mobilization anyway. So while they dominate every aspect of the government, they still basically want to complain, because the one aspect that they truly want is broad recognition and popularity. They want to be loved. They don't care about dominating culture in an effort to create popular mobilization for their causes, like, white supremacy, the abolition of DEI, whatever that means, or, I don't know, abolishing the Department of Education. They simply want to be liked. They want to be liked. They want to be popular for their opinions. That's it. And it's very stupid because, on the one hand, like, sure, liberalism is the domineering attitude in most aspects of media, and yet liberals have nothing. They have nothing. They ain't got no motion right now. They're losing everywhere. And conservatives are still mad. They can't even celebrate their victories because their victories to them mean nothing. They don't care about actually advancing a right-wing agenda, because at the end of the day, I think that right-wing agenda is inherently harmful to broad swaths of the working class anyway. Okay, we went from, and then you have the other side of the conservative spectrum, by the way, people who don't have any media literacy whatsoever, who saw the American flag and thought, oh, this is good. We went from kneeling during the national anthem to a halftime show showcasing USA flag colors. We're so back. A few years ago, they were endorsing burning the USA flag, and now Samuel L. Jackson is Uncle Sam at the Super Bowl. Hollywood is desperately trying to get America to pay attention to them again. Yeah, definitely. This was actually a positive figure. Kendrick Lamar put Samuel L. Jackson in an Uncle Sam costume, which was, I believe, was it Bodie or Marnie? Regardless, beautiful. The outfits were amazing. That's a totally separate thing. Like, Kendrick Lamar's pants are so fire. But yeah, getting back to the conservatives failing to understand any kind of political messaging, even if it's not very, even if it's like subtle or light. We're so back. Finally, the NFL joins in celebrating US flag instead of disrespecting us during halftime. Finally, a non-woke satanic halftime show. Kendrick Lamar showing off the American flag. I love this. So there was certainly a very real political moment, but it did not capture, it was not captured by the cameras. I think it was deliberately hidden from the cameras on the national stage. However, if you looked hard enough, you could find it. And I'm not talking about this. A black man performing at the Super Bowl halftime show. No BLM messaging. No rainbow flags flying. His whole dance team is repping red, white, and blue. I'm pleasantly surprised so far. That's not what I was talking about, of course. What I'm talking about is the brave dancer that was a part of Kendrick. Right here, you can see if you squint hard enough on the top left corner, busted out a Free Sudan and Free Gaza flag that he had on him. He was actually a part of the dance team. He was waving it loud and proud, still showcasing it until he gets, of course, tackled. And when they were covering this, people were a little confused. Some thought it was a part of the show. Some thought it was a random person who snuck into the group. But no, this was actually a cast member who did a very brave thing. Cast member who displayed the Palestinian flag with the word Gaza in protest during Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show will not face charges, New Orleans police said Monday. Part of that was also, initially, the police were basically looking for any charges to hit him with. And they simply could not find a charge to hit him with until this article came out. Most articles that were covering it were saying that the police were basically looking for something that they could charge him with, I guess disrupting the NFL halftime Super Bowl show is not illegal, but they were basically looking for something. But considering that he was one of the dancers, it gave him some semblance of coverage. You couldn't hit him with like trespassing or anything like that, because he was literally one of the dancers. The banner combined the black stripes of the flags honored by the Sudanese and Palestinian peoples and also the word Sudan on it. The cast member, one of dozens of dancers clad in identical black sweats, held it high while standing on the roof of the car that was the centerpiece of the hip-hop artist's performance, and then jumped off the stage and ran across the field before being tackled by several men in suits. The cast member had hidden the flag, and no one was involved in the production was aware of the individual's intent, the NFL said Sunday, adding that the person has earned a lifetime ban from league stadiums and events. Rock Nation, the entertainment company which produced the halftime show, said in a statement provided by the NFL that the flag display was not planned. President Donald Trump was in the stadium for the game, but it wasn't clear if he saw the protest. Trump's comments asserting that his government is committed to buying and owning Gaza have been widely rejected by the Palestinian people, upending discussions about the enclave's future. So I guess I wasn't the only one who thought Kendrick wasn't being political enough. It seems like there was at least one dancer in Kendrick's crew that also thought the same and thought that he would take matters into his own hands. So this leads me to believe that if there were no charges for him, that he was falsely tackled, it seems. Yes, I did see this, by the way. People saying Kendrick Lamar should have used the halftime performance to make a statement like he didn't just have the same dancers who made up the American flag collapse into 100 individual swastikas. I don't know if that's what is going on here, but you're really dying on this hill. It's not a hill. I need you guys to understand something very important. I need you to understand something very important. This is not a hill. If this is a hill for you, get better hills. Like, we can have disagreements, especially on, artistic interpretation, especially in the realm of politics. especially when the artist itself that we're talking about is a very political artist. So I just need you to understand, this is not a hill that someone is dying on. We can have disagreements on this kind of stuff, especially because art is subject to interpretation and it is very subjective. So everyone needs to cool their jets. You know, this is not my opinion on like something that is directly causing people to die, for example.